2020, Earth Defense Force 2025. The sequel to 2017 from the original developers recaptures the charm and the fun that those damn Americans got wrong in their attempt. Playing with the same structure but with improved mechanics and models makes exterminating bugs even better with 3 new classes with their own weapons, playstyle positives, and flaws. Very, very prominent flaws. A mega fuck ton of new weapons and vehicles, character customization, more levels, better maps, new enemies, and online co-op make the game so much more interactive. If you liked 2017, you're gonna love this one. '19. Space Station Silicon Valley. I have never done drugs in my life, but I think at the age of 8 I first experienced what a drug trip might look like. Stop me if you've heard this one before. A space station full of robotic animals reappears after 1,000 years being missing. A professor and his space marines have also gone missing on the station, so the president sends Dan Danger and Chip, heroes for hire, to find out what's happened. During an argument, they crash land on the station. Chip's ejector seat malfunctions, causing him to break apart into nothing but a computer chip that can now take over the bodies of dead robotic animals. At first, the animals start off normal: dogs, sheep, penguins. Shortly after, you'll discover racing mice, missile-equipped racing dogs, spring sheep, and much more. Each animal has 2 abilities that will help you complete the level, and it will often be necessary to swap between animals if you're able to kill them. Your objectives are listed but at the same time unclear, and only through mindless wandering, or googling, will you know what to do. 4 biomes await you on this mad adventure, and each will contain a new catalogue of animals to commandeer. You'll definitely have a memorable time while playing. Enjoyable? Well, that'll be subjective, but for me, it's a yes. '18. Grounded. When creativity and passion come together, you get something very unique and fantastic. Taking clear inspiration from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Grounded sees you taking on the role of a child who's been mysteriously shrunken down to bug size and now has to survive in the jungle that is the back garden. The environment is beautiful, a gigantic area of gorgeous biomes full of materials to harvest and locations to build your humble beginnings until you can build something way more grandstanding. The wildlife will have you questioning every noise you hear. Is it a peaceful ant, a potential pet, or a giant as all fuck spider? The sizable variety of insects will have you wanting to go find them all so you can learn how to fight them, create new gear from their body parts, and analyze those body parts to learn new recipes. As you continue to explore the huge map, you'll find many labs which will slowly reveal the mystery of how you were shrunken down and what you need to do to reverse it and get home. It's a great game that will fill you with childlike wonder as well as reasonable fear. The survival elements are well balanced and the base building is really effective for making a personalized shelter exactly how you want it to look. And with the recent WASP update, there's now even more content to explore. Let's hope they keep adding more to it in time to keep it alive and well. '17. Monster Rancher 4. Have you ever wanted to play Frankenstein with Pokemon? Well, now you've got Pokemon Fusion for that, but before that, you had Monster Rancher. You take on the role of a rancher who raises monsters to battle and go on adventures with, as the story about your friend who can talk to monsters unfolds. But if you've played any Monster Rancher game before, we both know that you're not here for that. You're here for the best part of the game: creating life! A very unique feature that hasn't been used again in any other game. So the basic premise is, the world used to be full of monsters, but then they were sealed away in these mystery discs. Ranchers now find these discs and release the monsters that are inside them. But what makes this so special to the game? Well, the discs are any CD, DVD, or disc-based media that you own in real life. You can visit the shrine, and when prompted, You would insert whatever disc you wanted and the game would read it, then give you a monster based on what you put in. So your whole shelf full of DVDs or PS1 games or whatever the fuck were full of monsters waiting to be released and raised. But it doesn't stop there. You also have the option to freeze a monster, raise another, freeze that one, then combine them into one stronger and possibly new monster. With over 300 monsters to discover, this will be one hell of a way to start a career as a mad scientist and raise the ultimate life form to dominate the competition. "16. Dynasty Warriors 8. After the disaster that was 6, 7 got the series back on track, and 8 improved on the much-loved formula once again. Characters since 7 have been able to wield 2 weapons at once, resulting in some helpful and hilarious combinations. Elements now affect combat where you gain the advantage over certain soldiers if your weapon's element is strong against theirs. Admittedly, any character being able to use any weapon does take away from their individuality a bit, as now the weaponry acts as movesets, but each character gets 2 unique moves when using a certain weapon. Additional combat mechanics like a second Mushu attack in the air makes you a bigger threat on the field, and Rage Mode allows you to go super powerful for a short time while gaining extra XP for every kill. But why 8 over 7? Well, 8 has more characters, stages and weapons, but also an additional mode called Ambition, where you're trying to make a place for the Emperor to live. Starting from an abandoned wreckage, you slowly build it up by fighting enemies to gather resources to upgrade the buildings, which will improve your base and its services, as well as recruiting characters to act as bodyguards or managers for the services you'll develop. There isn't much of a difference in gameplay when compared to 7, 8 simply wins because of the extra stuff. 15. Stubbs the Zombie. Sometimes, it's fun to be the bad guy. Stubbs is a zombie who woke up after being murdered and is now pissed, so it's time to cause an apocalypse. Built with the Halo engine, you'll eat brains to build a zombie army and take over the city of Punch Bowl. With its parody nature, silly humour and cartoonish violence, you'll be laughing at the panic and chaos you cause, as your goal is simply search, devour, occasionally dance, and hoard your way through the levels using a set of zombie powers that will help you get the edge over those filthy human scumbags. It's a great time that's also fully co-op for 2 players, and it will be a one-of-a-kind experience that you'll look back on fondly. 14. Saints Row 2. Originally a parody title of GTA, the unexpected success of Saints Row had fans eager for more, including me. When Saints Row 2 arrived, it was loved by the fans and to this day still stands as one of the best entries for me. Taking place straight after the events of SR1, you wake up to realise that not only are you no longer a silent protagonist, but the Saints have disbanded and you take it upon yourself to reform them and take back the city. This entry introduced the new, much-loved characters as well as brought back some fan favourites. The side activities were still as crude and crazy as ever. The customization of your character and cars was top-notch. 2-player co-op was added, a fuck ton of rewards was yours to get, the acting is masterful, your character was a badass, the plot was well written, with a nice balance of humour, seriousness and action. The missions were fun as hell, the humour is great, basically there was a lot more to do in general, and the DLC was well worth the money. Sadly, some of the more unique features would only be featured here and lost in the sequels. Not to say 3 and 4 are bad, but they don't bring me as much joy as 2 does, and I wish this one got the remaster instead of 3. 13. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty Substance. The legendary series from Hideo Kojima is loved by fans all over the world. Debatable whether or not it's a game or a movie, the storyline is as complicated and so full of war politics Tom Clancy would get jealous. Thankfully the gameplay is not nearly as complicated, but it still requires skill to navigate efficiently. Stealth is your strongest weapon, and when necessary, you could take on the enemy head on when shit hit the fan with the easily interchangeable playstyles. The cast is made up of memorable characters who are all expertly performed by their voice actors. Iconic moments burn themselves into the minds of the viewer, and the VR missions are a nice break if you want to deviate from the main plot. The series' tongue-in-cheek humour will occasionally make an appearance, and the little secrets you can find will get you digging deeper to intentionally break your immersion a little. Another masterpiece of gaming, Metal Gear Solid 2 will always be a title I can't get bored of, and Konami was stupid to let Kojima go. It's stupid decisions like that which cursed us with Survive. Warriors Orochi 4. Another entry from the Orochi series, and this time it's bigger than ever. Now expanding into Greek and Norse mythology, sadly at the sacrifice of removing certain characters from Orochi 3. Thankfully, a lot of your favourites are still here. The most confusing and complex storyline to date for the series is full of several handfuls of cheese the series is known for, and it will bring you the largest cast of characters to play as, with even more over-the-top fight mechanics which are simple to use, including some of them infused with literal godlike power. You now have an increased team limit of 7, which you can fine-tune to make yourself stronger by building bonds and upgrading them individually, as well as increasing the capabilities of your camp and weaponry. A heap of new modes will give you even more to do, and it will keep your attention longer than any other Warriors title ever. More mindless violence and chaos is at your fingertips in endless amounts, so go wild and slaughter as many soldiers as your bloodthirsty heart desires. Gex Free Deep Cover Gecko. The channel-hopping Gecko is back, and this time, at least in the UK version, he's played by Danny John Jules.
You and every other beautiful government agent trapped in a TV set. I'm on my way. Schlemiel, Schlemazel.
The short version of describing Gex Free is, we have Mario 64 at home. The longer version is, Gex's latest friends with benefits has been kidnapped by his rival Rez, and now he has to save her. To do so, he will have to enter his many giant TVs, each themed off a different type of show. As he does this, he'll need to complete challenges to collect remotes, which will unlock more levels to play. The levels, while small, are entertaining visually as they are filled with a lot of visual jokes and offer up secrets to find and unusual tasks to complete with a decent amount of challenge to keep you involved. Even if some of those challenges involve trying to get the hit detection to work. Yes, it's a rip-off of Mario 64. But at least it has its own identity with Gex, the smack-talking, quip-whipping, charismatic Gecko, who has as many hit-and-miss jokes as he does outfits. It's got a great sense of humour. Between Gex's one-liners, the visual jokes, the parody references, Gex's fashion choices, you'll find something to giggle at while playing the decent and creative platformer.